Okay, welcome back to another video. As you guys know, my name is Dalen Anderson, and today we're going to be talking about how to be patient and persistent for more success. So there's three main principles of why you should be patient and persistent and how to be more patient and persistent. So let's get into this. So the very first reason, or the very first suggestion for how to be patient and persistent is think big picture. Okay? Think big picture. Now, the reason why we think big picture when we're thinking about patience and persistence, a lot of times people want to be patient, they want to be persistent, but they don't have a vision. And so they're kind of tossed around, right? They try to be consistent, but they don't really have a definition of what that consistency looks like, right? They don't have a schedule, they don't have a goal, they don't have a vision. So in order to be patient and persistent, you have to know what you're being patient and persistent towards. You know, maybe your goal is to have a better relationship with your wife, right? Then you need to be patient and persistent in that goal. So that's the first thing, you got to think big picture, because if you don't think big picture, then you miss out on all of that opportunity to anchor yourself to a vision. You know, if you're not thinking big picture, maybe you have a desire to be patient or persistent, but then you fail to do it because you don't have anything that's a big enough reason, a big enough goal to actually be patient and persistent with it, right? So yeah, you need to think big picture. To be patient and persistent, you have to have a goal and something to work towards. So the very first subcategory under being patient and persistent is to clarify your vision, right? So you need to know where you're going, like I said, a goal. And it can't just be general. I mean, general goals are good to set too, especially at the start as you're learning to set goals. But as you get better at setting goals, you want to set more and more specific goals, right? Like instead of, I want to be more patient and persistent with my wife, maybe you say, today, I'm going to be patient with my wife all day long, and I'm not going to make a mistake. And you commit yourself to that. And just for that one day, you have a very specific goal of that one day where you're going to be patient throughout that whole day. So the more specific your goal can be and the more clarity you can breathe into it, the easier it is going to be persistent and patient and work towards that goal. So yeah, clarify your vision. And a lot of times when people want to clarify their vision, they have a hard time deciding what they want to do. So you may need to examine yourself a little bit, see what you're good at, see what you're bad at. But also, sometimes you just need to pick, because if it's the wrong thing, you'll be shown that pretty quickly and you'll be able to adjust your course and fix it. But if you can't decide what you want to do, you're not going to make any progress in any direction, right? So you want to pick what your vision is. And that's probably one of the biggest problems people have, is actually deciding what they want to do. So just decide if it's good, if it's worthy of your time, and you feel good about it, choose it. You can change later, right? If it doesn't work for you, if you don't feel like it's actually what you expected, or maybe you just feel like you're being told to do something else, then listen to that. You don't have to lie to yourself. You can be honest and change the direction that you want to go. But if you can't make a decision, you're not going to make any progress in any direction. So yeah, clarify your vision. This is all under thinking big picture. And I am going to use a green marker because this blue one's running out, so don't mind the color change here. So yeah, you need to clarify your vision. If you want to be persistent towards something, you have to know what direction you're going, right? And if you want to be patient for reaching your goal, then you're going to need to also know where you're going. Because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get impatient when you're not there, right? And without getting impatient sometimes, how are you ever going to learn how to practice patience, right? So the more that you practice these things, the easier it gets. Especially when it comes to moral principles. You know, you're going to make mistakes along the way. When you make a mistake, that gives you an opportunity to exercise patience. So yeah. Okay, so clarify your vision. You also want to list your values. Okay, so a lot of times people want to be patient, but then they don't actually have a vision for themselves, right? And a vision for themselves doesn't only include like goals. I want a house, I want a wife, or whatever, you know, your goals are. Maybe you want a husband, or who knows what your goals are, right? I don't know what your personal goals are, but clarifying your vision includes setting those goals. But also, if you don't have values, then your vision is kind of meaningless, right? If you have a home, but you don't have good values, then you don't have a happy home. And what's the point of having a home if it's not a happy home, right? So even though you have your vision clarified, you need to clarify it even more with values, because that's going to infuse life into what you're doing. You could have everything in the world, every physical object or goal achieved in the world, but if you don't have values, if you're not happy, what's the point? Why are you doing it? Right? Why? You know? I would rather live a life where I have a very simple house and, you know, just my guitar, maybe a wife and some kids and a little bit of money. If I'm happy, then have a mansion and 3 businesses and a bunch of worldly success without joy, without values, without happiness. What's the point, right? So infuse your vision with values, because that's what's going to bring joy into what you're doing. Kindness, charity, you know, generosity. Start infusing your life with those values, and you're going to experience a lot happier of a life because of it. So you need values and you need to stick to them. That's going to help you be patient and persistent. It's easier to be patient with others when you have some momentum, right? When you've been practicing it. So if one of your goals is to love others, or one of your goals is to be more patient with your family members, or one of your goals is to be kind, right? And you're practicing that value on a regular basis, it just becomes a habit for you. So when you have an experience where you want to lose your patience, the value of being kind to others takes over and you don't lose your patience, and then it's easier to be happy, right? It's easier to be patient in the future because you've got momentum around that thing. So clarify your vision as far as goals go, but also make a list of values so when you get those things, they mean something to you. So it's not empty and pointless, right? So yeah, list your values. The other thing is a mission statement, right? And this could be for your life too. I know that this comes off as like business advice, which it can be, right? This could be applied to business or starting a nonprofit or whatever you're doing. But also maybe you just have a life and you don't have like a business, you don't have any other, you just have a normal life, like a regular life, you don't have any big dream or goal that you're working towards right now, well, maybe you just need a mission statement for your life, you know? Maybe your big goal is, I want to raise a family. Well, make a mission statement, you know? How do you want to raise a family? Just raising a family isn't clear enough. There's not enough clarity there. You need to say, I want to raise a family. I want to raise a family that has values. I want to raise a family. Maybe I want to be a homeschooler, you know. You have to clarify that vision. And so you can make a mission statement. My mission statement is to do the absolute best I can as a mother or father in raising my family, to provide the most opportunity for my children's success so that they can go out into the world and be a benefit to society and be a benefit to the people that they learn how to serve, that they make connections with. You know, your mission statement could be something like that, where it's powerful. All of a sudden, you're not just raising a family, you're raising a family of people that are going to go out and change the world for the better, even if they're not the next Elon Musk or whatever, right? And so having a mission statement, even if you don't have a big business or a nonprofit, maybe you just have a regular life with no big giant goal right now, still super useful, still super helpful to have a mission statement. You can't go wrong by clarifying where you want to go, you know? You can't go anywhere without clarifying where you want to go, unless you want to be tossed around and go wherever life wants to put you. But if you want to have a say in the matter, then clarify your vision, right? Know what you want, ask for it, and you'll get it 9 times out of 10, right? So yeah, have a mission statement. Also make a plan. So even more than just a goal, even more than just having a goal, even more than just having values, even more than just having a mission statement, how are you going to get there, right? You can know where you want to go, but if you don't have a plan for buying a boat, right, for buying food for your boat, for traveling across sea so that you can get to the new continent, for example, that you're trying to explore, if you don't have a plan, then your goal is just a goal. It's just something you wrote down. It doesn't mean anything, right? You need a plan, and then you need to execute that plan. You can't just write it down. You just need to execute it. You know, actually apply it. If it sits there, it doesn't mean anything. So make a plan, and then that way you know how to get to your goal. And maybe your plan isn't perfect. Maybe you don't know exactly how. But the how will come as you start taking your first step, you know. Things will start falling into place, but not if you stand still. Not if you reject your vision, not if you decide, oh, you know, maybe it's too hard to make a plan. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Figure it out. You can figure it out. Pray about it. You know, you can figure out a plan. So don't give up just because you see distance between where you are and where you want to go. The distance only seems big because you're not there yet, you know? As you get closer, you're going to be like, oh, that wasn't that far. That wasn't that hard. A mountain only looks big when you're at the bottom of it, right? Once you get closer to the top, you're like, okay, I'm pretty, you know, it was a good hike. I'm sweaty, but that wasn't near as bad as I imagined, you know? So you just got to start climbing up. And the way you do that is know where you want to go, know which mountain you want to climb, and have a plan for getting up there. I'm going to go buy some good boots. I'm going to get a backpack that has light packing gear with good food in it, you know. Think for yourself. Plan. Grab a piece of paper and a notebook, right? And think of some ideas. And write them down. Plan. Strategize. Think. Right? That's all going to help you be patient and persistent with yourself, one of the main reasons people aren't patient and persistent is actually because they have low self-esteem, right? They don't know where they're going. They're not confident in themselves. And so everything is offensive to them. They take things personally when it's not a personal attack, They get offended easily. Why? Because they don't know where they're going. They don't have vision. And as it says in Proverbs, King Solomon said, without vision, the people perish, right? So if you don't know where you're going, it's actually way easier to be impatient with people than if you do know where you're going, right? But you also don't want to be one of those people that's so goal-oriented that they lose their humanity, It's once been said that it's good to have money and the things that money can buy, but it's also good to make sure that you haven't lost the things that money can't buy, right? So don't get so goal-oriented that you lose your humanity. Be a human being, right? But at the same time, if you are goal-oriented, you'll actually probably be more human, more patient with people, more present with people, because you're confident in yourself. You know where you're going. And so if you know where you're going, you can take 15 minutes of time to really listen to what somebody else has to say, right? Because you're not trying to figure yourself out. You know who you are, what you want. You're able to really be present with other people. So So that's all under thinking big picture. Clarify your vision, list your values, make a mission statement, and make a plan. Stick to your plan, actually apply it. You can adjust it as you go if you need. But make a plan, make a mission statement, have values so you breathe life into what you're doing, and have a vision so you know where you're going. All of these things help you with patience and persistence. And of course, patience and persistence is going to make you more successful, like significantly. So that's how to think big picture. Okay. Now let's talk about number 2 for today. Number 2 is single-pointed focus. Single-pointed focus. All right. So, how does this help you with patience and persistence? Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? And if you try to do 2 things at once, good luck. The way the human brain works is we have a goal-oriented system inside of our brain. It's almost like a mechanism where our brains are designed to be goal-oriented. And when you set a goal, your entire brain is biologically wired to help you achieve that goal. So if you're trying to think of 2 things at once, right? You're trying to have 2 goals at once. It's trying to calculate for one goal and calculate for another goal, and it just can't compute. It doesn't know what to do. So you need single-pointed focus, all right? This doesn't mean you can't have 2 projects as long as you're only working on one project at that time and another project at the other time. But it does mean that if you're trying to multitask, or you're trying to think of 2 things at once, you're not going to be successful. You're going to lose focus, and you're not going to do a good job at either one. So, you need single-pointed focus, right? And that looks like having one task at a time. So one task at a time, most people try to do 2 things at once, A lot of times in the morning, I'll try to listen to something on my phone and eat breakfast. Sounds like a good idea, right? Listen on your phone and eat breakfast. You get 2 things done at once, right? You get twice as much done with half the time. No, not true. If I'm eating food, and I'm trying to listen to something on my phone, my ability to listen to it goes down. I can't do it as good of a job because I'm trying to do two things at once. Even though you think, oh, well, eating is unconscious, right? It doesn't take a lot of thought to eat. Well, true, it doesn't take a lot of thought to eat, but it doesn't take a lot of thought to listen either. But the brain doesn't work good when it's trying to do two things at once. So single-pointed focus also means one task at a time. Make a list of the most important things you need to do each day and do them one at a time until it's complete. Okay? This task is done, complete. This task is done, complete. This task is done, complete. One at a time, right? If you're learning how to read a book, sometimes it's helpful to grab a ruler and cover the words, right? So you can focus on one word at a time so you can really be able to understand what you're reading and read it correctly and not lose focus. Being able to focus isn't some biological gift or lack thereof, but it's an art. Well, it's really a discipline or a habit, not even an art. So being able to have single-pointed focus comes from practice, right? Everybody in today's world, they have distractions. They're trying to do 5 things at once, something on their phone, talk to a friend, like everybody's distracted. So it's super, super helpful and really refreshing when somebody has single-pointed focus, right? They can listen to what you have to say, they can get their task done, start it, complete it. That's really refreshing. So one task at a time. Also, check this out. One day at a time. This is going to help so much with patience and persistence for more success. Just applying these things, right? One day at a time. The issue with a lot of people is we're trying to live our whole life at once. We're trying to imagine what our life is going to look like, how everything's going to play out. We're trying to live our entire life in a single day, and sometimes even in a single moment, and imagine it all and how it's going to go out and play out, and we're wrong a lot of times. Some people are more accurate than others. Some people can say, you know what, this is going to happen in my life, and it does, because they have a little bit more self-awareness and self-control, and they've cultivated that, so they can say, you know what, I'm going to do this thing, and it's going to happen. So they have self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you don't have that ability, right, if you haven't cultivated your ability to achieve your goals, then you probably don't really know where you're going, and you probably can't predict your future very good. So stop trying. And even if you can, it's not helpful to try to imagine your life all at once, right? So one day at a time, okay? If you can focus on one day at a time and just do the best you can possibly do that day, instead of thinking about the future or what happened in the past, just this day, right now, choose to do a good job throughout this whole day, one day at a time. And you keep stacking those up, and you'll have a successful life. But a successful life is built from successful days consecutively stacked on top of each other. So focus on having successful days, right? Today was successful, tomorrow's successful, the next day's successful, one day at a time. Okay, the other one is one goal at a time. We already talked about this, but the human brain is designed to achieve goals. It's wired to. You know what they say? They say you can get anything you put your mind on. And it's true. Like, true. In fact, I begin to get worried when somebody tells me that something is impossible. because they don't understand life. Because all things are possible to him who believes. So if you have one goal at a time, our brains are wired to achieve goals. We're created to. And having two goals at once is like trying to divide yourself. You just can't really do it. So have one single goal at a time, stay focused on that goal, and you can achieve it, right? If you can put your mind on it and you really set your mind on it, you can achieve it, I promise you. So one goal at a time, because if you have two goals at once, then you're not going to be able to really focus on that one, and your brain is going to try to compute both goals at the same time, and it won't do a very good job at it. So as far as like primary goals, you can have like a list of goals that you want for yourself, but just how you're trying to accomplish one task at a time, right? You want to do one goal at a time. So once that goal is complete, then you go for the next one. It helps simplify the process significantly. So yeah, one goal at a time really helps a lot. The other thing is healthy swings. Okay? So basically, in baseball, you're not going to hit that ball every time, right? You're going to miss sometimes. And so what you should be focused on is having your healthy swings. If you miss sometimes, who cares? If you make a mistake sometimes, who cares, right? Get back on your feet. Keep going forward. Forgive yourself. Pray if you need to pray. Whatever you got to work out. Get back on your feet and keep having your healthy swings, right? Life isn't about never making mistakes. That's ridiculous. How could we learn if we didn't make mistakes? But life is about trying to be good, right? Trying not to make mistakes. Trying to choose the right thing. And not even trying, hopefully actually choosing it, And so yeah, if you keep having your healthy swings, then you're good. You're going to have an off day. You're going to have a day where, you go to do something and you don't do as good of a job as you wished, but it was still a good job. It was still your best you could do, even if it was really even if you fell a lot shorter from the goal that you had set for yourself. If you fall short, but you did the best you could do, just get back up, go tomorrow. You're going to have a day or two where you don't have a good swing, right? Babe Ruth, for example, he had a lot of really, really good swings. He was hitting that baseball a lot. But if you actually think about it, he also missed it more than he hit it. People don't talk about that, but he struck out more times than he had success, statistically. So don't be hard on yourself when you make a mistake. Get back up, keep going forward. Keep having your healthy swings, and you're going to be okay. Okay, the other thing is schedule. So this happens to go along very nicely with single pointed focus and one task at a time and one day at a time. Because if you have a schedule, you know what you're going to do, what day you're going to do it. You can just do it. You can have single pointed focus. You can accomplish your task, and then you can be done, right? And do that next thing you need to do. So with a schedule, you're able to really apply these things. You're able to apply one task at a time, one day at a time, right? One goal at a time with a schedule. And a plan, if you have a plan, well, then you can take your vision, your mission statement, your values, and then you can write up your plan in a certain way where your schedule makes it so every day you're doing things in alignment with your plan. So if your schedule is in alignment with your plan, right, then you can trust your schedule. You can just do it. You can just follow it. Even if you have to revise it sometimes, you're able to just do your schedule. And as you do your schedule, you're working towards your vision, because your schedule has tasks that are in alignment with your plan, with your mission statement, with your values. Okay? So you need a schedule, and you want to do your best to follow it. And you can revise it, but you want your schedule to be in alignment with your plan, with your mission statement, and your vision. Okay? Perfect. All right. So the other thing is weed out distractions. And this isn't that hard to do. It's actually pretty easy. You guys know what's distracting you. It's your phone, right? It's social media. It's that friend that you need to maybe spend a little less time with, right? Weed out distractions. And it's not like you have anything against social media or your phone or your friend, but if it's getting in the way of your work, then, find balance. Find a way to set things in order. Because if you have things out of order, you're probably going to, if it's a friend that's slowing you down, you're going to probably have resentment towards that person. Not because they did anything wrong, but because you did. Because you literally stopped focusing on your goals, right? So then you're like, man, you get mad at that person, but really it's your fault, So yeah, weed out distractions. It could be your phone, it could be music, it could be social media, it could be whatever it is, It could be an addiction, it could be whatever. Figure out what it is and weed it out. Learn how to control it. Learn how to take charge over it, right? My phone, I use this thing every day, but also I get a message quite often that says your screen time is down 5% or 20%. So even though I use it every day, it doesn't have control over me. I don't go mindlessly scrolling on my phone. Very, very, very rarely do I just use it as a way to distract myself. Sometimes I do still, but 90% of the time I don't. And if I'm at, for example, like a class, listening to a teacher, I don't get my phone out. I listen, right? I don't get my phone out. If I'm listening to somebody else, 90% of the time, I have my phone put away, okay? Weed out distractions. You're going to be a lot more patient and persistent if you're not always distracted. So yeah. And then strive for excellence. Okay, the reason that we strive for excellence is because if you go for like that highest goal, then you're going to live up to it. So if you want to be patient and persistent, strive for excellence, right? Do the best that you can. This isn't perfectionism. This isn't OCD. This is just excellence, right? You just want to do a good job. And as you set that really, really high goal for yourself, you're going to live up to it, right? So strive for excellence, and you're going to find that you will become excellent at what you do. And people that are excellent in what they do, they don't lose patience. They always are persistent, right? So that they keep their patience, and they keep their persistence. That's what people do when they're highly successful. And when you set a high goal for yourself, like excellency, you live up to it. If you set a low goal for yourself, you're going to live up to that. We generally live up to the expectation that we set for ourselves. So strive for excellency. Excellence in everything you do. And I promise you that you're going to be more patient and persistent because you have a high ideal, right? You have a good goal, a good vision for yourself. And you want to live up to it. So yeah, strive for excellence. So, Under single pointed focus, we have one task at a time, one day at a time, one goal at a time. Keep having your healthy swings. You're going to have off days, right? Babe Ruth struck out more than he hit. So think about that one, right? So yeah, healthy swing, schedule, weed out distractions. Schedule and weeding out distractions go hand in hand together. If you have a schedule but you're not weeding out distractions, you're not going to be able to stick to your schedule. If you don't have a schedule, you're probably going to get distracted by everything, right? So try to apply those two together. And then strive for excellence. If you have a high ideal, a high goal for yourself, you're probably going to live up to it. Set a high goal, really go for it. Really go for it. So yeah, single pointed focus. That's number 2. And here's all the subcategories. This is printed off, by the way, right here. A piece of paper with all the information in today's video. I don't know if you can see with this camera because of but I put this in the description here. So if you guys want to be able to review these or see this easier, just click in the description and you'll see all of the things that I talk about today. Just to make it easy for you guys to get access to that information. So, yeah, single pointed focus. You want to be able to stay focused, be focused, and this is how you do it. All right, so number 3 for our primary category is learn trust. Learn trust. Oh goodness, right? Easier said than done. So, learn trust. So a lot of people don't trust life, they don't trust their friends, they don't trust their family, and they live in this constant state of distrust towards everything. Now, it is important to understand that we live in a fallen world and people make mistakes, and yeah, that's a reality of life. So that's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that you should lose your trust for life, right? You shouldn't lose your trust. Now, if you've lost trust with a specific person, then you need to hope that you guys can build that trust back up together by working together to build that trust back up. But without trust, you can't really go very far. You're going to have to learn how to trust some people, and you're going to have to learn how to build trust, be trustworthy, and you're going to have to learn how to trust God especially, because He's the one that really is in charge of everything that's going on. And if you don't know how to trust Him, who can you trust, right? So yeah. So under learn trust, we need to trust the process. Right? So in other words, if you start something and you're like, whoa, how is it going to go from here? How are we going to take it from this place to that place? And you start to lose trust along the way, and then you give up or you stop going, your progress stops. So you got to trust the process. Keep walking forward. Make sure you're in a good direction, right? Make sure you're walking towards good things, but keep walking and keep trusting, and you're going to make progress. So trust the process. Trust in God, right? You need to trust that God has your best interests in mind, that He knows you, that He loves you, right? That He's guiding you. And you need to build that trust in God, because there's going to be things in life that happen where you're tested. So when you're tested, God wants to see whether you're going to focus on Him or whether you're going to run away and go find some other thing that's going to help lift you up, right? So God wants to see if you're going to trust Him. And sometimes bad things happen in your life, not because, God wants to see you suffer, but because He wants to see how you'll react. That's what he's really focused on, right? How are you going to treat other people? How are you going to handle that situation? So sometimes he tests us to really build our trust in him and really see if he can trust us. So yeah, you're going to have to learn how to trust God. And then the other thing you need to do is trust your vision. Okay? Because people won't see what you see. They don't have the same mind as you, and they don't see what you see. So they might misunderstand you. You know, this could be friends, family members, anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. They might not understand your vision. So trust your vision. You know, people will start to understand as time goes on. But at the start, they're not going to understand. So just keep going, right? They'll begin to see why you're doing what you're doing. But if you don't trust your vision, then you're going to let the opinions of other people control you. They might lose a lot of respect for you, you know? Even though it's unconscious. For example, if you don't do your vision, if you don't go for your vision, and then all these people in your life see that, and deep down you know you're not being true to yourself, they're going to lose respect for you. So don't listen to them, because they're going to regret it later, right? If you do. They're going to be like, why did he listen to me? He should have listened to his dreams. Why did he listen to me? Right? So they don't understand now, but they will later. So follow your dreams. Follow your heart. Trust your vision. If that vision is good, if it's wholesome, if it came from God, trust it. Okay? And then the other thing is to trust your plan. Right? You guys have hopefully made a plan, because I was under thinking big picture at the start here. But sometimes it's hard to trust your plan. Sometimes you have a plan, it makes really good sense to you. When you're making it, when you're creating it, you're like, this is really going to work, you know? Then you go to start to apply it, week 1, week 2, and all these competing doubts start arising. Well, fear is a liar, you know? Don't listen to it. Trust your plan. Doubt your doubts before you doubt your plan, okay? Trust what you saw earlier in your mind's eye and work on it. Keep going towards it. Don't let life change your vision because you're not seeing the results. We walk by faith, not by sight. Sometimes you have to walk in faith for a long time before you start to see why you were doing what you were doing. So, trust your plan. If it's a good plan, trust it. You may need to make revisions to it along the way, just like your schedule. Even your vision and your values, you may need to make revisions. And your mission statement. But still, trust it. Right? Trust it. Keep working at it. You're going to reap the results, but not if you start to doubt and you start to give up on it. So yeah, trust your plan. Provide value first. Now, why do you provide value first if you want to learn how to trust? Well, like I said earlier, sometimes you don't see the fruits of what you're doing for a long time. So you just have to keep serving, keep providing value, keep doing the right thing, right? Then over time, you're going to start to see the results. This is all part of trusting, right? Learning trust. It's kind of like, it's very, very, very similar to, let's see, what were we talking? Weed out distractions, healthy swings. I can't find it right now, but either way, trusting your plan, trusting your vision and learning how to trust what you're doing is helpful. Because if you give up on what you're doing, you're gonna give up on your own progress. So keep making progress, keep working towards it, right? This is part of trusting the process. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah. So providing value first is also part of trusting the process. If you want to trust the process, you're gonna have to walk by faith. Sometimes that means providing value without getting any compensation for quite some time. Then you start to experience the compensation for it. Okay? So give first, provide value first, be helpful, be good to other people. Sometimes it takes time to see the results of those things. You need momentum, right? Some people are like, oh, well, I tried being kind for a week, it didn't work. Well, you've had like 20 years of momentum in the wrong direction. If you start being kind for a week, you're not going to make very much progress. You've got some work to do, right? You need to start being kind for a month. Then after that, go for 2. Then after that, go for 3. And set workable goals, one goal at a time. And then once you build momentum for being kind to other people, you're going to start to reap the results, the benefits of being a kind person. Okay? But you can't just try to be kind for a week and then be like, oh, it doesn't work. You got to build momentum. Walk by faith, not by sight. Okay? So, yeah. You got to provide value first. Super simple, but super powerful. Okay, mistakes happen. We talked about this earlier too, but seriously, mistakes happen. Okay? There isn't a single person on earth currently living that hasn't made a mistake. Okay? So, there's only one person that ever lived that was ever perfect, and his name was Jesus Christ. So don't be hard on yourself if you make mistakes. It's part of the process. Okay? You're going to make them along the way. And the quicker you forgive yourself, the quicker, if it's serious enough, the quicker you work with God on that repentance process, the happier you're going to be. But mistakes happen. You're going to make them along the way, and probably more than you want to. So don't try to control it. But yeah, definitely try to do the right thing. Don't try to make mistakes. Try to do the right thing. But when they happen, forgive yourself. It's part of the process. Mistakes happen. And last but not least, positive momentum. You need positive momentum, right? You can't just start having single pointed focus for a week. You got to decide that for the rest of your life, you're going to be the type of person that exercises single pointed focus. That everything you do, you're focused while you do it. One task at a time, one day at a time, one conversation at a time, one friend at a time, one person, right? You're really able to focus on that thing that you're doing. You're present. That's a lifestyle. You need positive momentum, right? You need to build the habit of being able to focus. So everything that we talked about today is a commitment to make to yourself, hopefully as a lifestyle change, a true shift in your identity, so that you build positive momentum for the rest of your life in the right direction and really start to experience the benefits. But you can't do this stuff for a week and then say it doesn't work, right? You need positive momentum. But I promise you, if you build that positive momentum, you're going to be like, whoa, I didn't realize just how successful I really could be. If you start building positive momentum in the right direction, just how bad things can snowball, right? If you start doing bad things in your life, that can snowball into a big mess. if you start doing good things and you build that positive momentum, you'll be amazed at how much success you can experience in your life. How much joy, how much happiness, how much peace. Because you have that momentum, right? And that momentum is going in the right direction. You've committed to yourself. You have a shift in identity. So it's who you are. It's your lifestyle. And you consistently and persistently work towards that positive momentum. And really, this positive momentum may be one of the most powerful concepts that I'm teaching today, even though it's the last one that we talked about, right? Save the best for last. So yeah, if you can get that positive momentum, you can really, really, really make a lot of progress in your life. You're going to be able to make the kind of progress that a lot of people are like, whoa, he got lucky. Or whoa, that person just happened to get a really, really, really good batch of life, didn't they? They got dealt some good cards. No, that's not what happened. Other people might say that about you, but you know that it's all because you had habits, you had lifestyle, you had visions, you had dreams, you stuck to them, and then you built positive momentum, and that positive momentum equaled a lot of success in your life, spiritually, maybe financially, if that's something you're interested in, right? So that positive momentum is probably the most powerful concept that I taught today. But they all work together. So yeah, apply everything, but the positive momentum is what you need to really experience what I'm talking about here. So yeah, I know this stuff works. It can really change your life if you apply it. Even if you just apply one or two things you learned today, maybe you want to focus on one of these things to start applying, then do it. You're going to experience a lot of success, a lot of joy. It's going to be fun to apply it. It's going to be fun to better yourself, and you're going to be happier for abiding by these rules and these principles of life, right? This could be applied to business, starting a nonprofit, starting a family, doesn't matter. So yeah, guys, that's how to be patient and persistent for more success. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I hope you learned something and you enjoyed it, found it valuable. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in future videos. I love you, and as always, peace be unto you.